They're building a city the size of Massachusetts in the desert. This $500 billion project called NEOM promises robots, flying cars, self-driving taxis, and life ripped straight from science fiction. Sounds incredible, right? Wrong. Here's why NEOM's shiny vision might just be a mirage. Sci-fi tech promises. One of the biggest roadblocks on NEOM's path is something straight out of a sci-fi movie. The technology simply doesn't exist yet, at least not at the scale they need. NEOM wants to be super eco-friendly, using things like solar power and wind farms for electricity. These are great ideas, but storing all that extra energy for cloudy days or calm nights is a challenge scientists are still working on. Another futuristic idea? Flying taxis hanging around in the air. Sounds incredible, right? Well, self-driving cars are still having trouble navigating our roads. You probably haven't even seen one, no offense. So imagine the complexity of a whole fleet of flying ones. Plus, NEOM wants everything to be connected. Buildings talking to appliances, traffic lights chatting with your car. This Internet of Things sounds cool, but it creates a massive amount of data that needs a super secure and powerful brain to manage it all. Building that brain is a job for tech wizards who haven't quite cracked the code yet. But there's more. NEOM even wants to control the weather within different parts of the city. Imagine having a sunny beach area next to a snowy ski slope, all within walking distance. Well, scientists can control the climate inside buildings. Creating mini weather zones across a whole city is something straight out of a superhero movie. So when we focus on the technology needed, is NEOM doomed to fail? Not necessarily. The project might actually push technology forward. By setting such ambitious goals, NEOM could inspire scientists to develop these amazing tools and make the dream a reality. However, it's important to remember that NEOM probably won't be a finished utopia tomorrow. Think of it as a giant experiment, a city constantly evolving as technology catches up. Will we see flying taxis zipping through NEOM skies anytime soon? Maybe not. But NEOM could become a blueprint for the future, showing us what's possible when we push the boundaries of science and imagination. But this is not the only problem. Human rights violation. NEOM's audacious plans for flying taxis and robot butlers are certainly interesting, but there's a crucial reality check needed before we get swept away in the futuristic daydream. The biggest challenge NEOM might face might not be a technical glitch, but a human one: the issue of human rights. NEOM is planned for a vast area in northwestern Saudi Arabia, a region traditionally inhabited by the Huaytat tribe. Reports from human rights organizations allege that the Saudi government has been accused of forcibly evicting people from their homes to clear the land for this mega city project. The Huaytat claim they haven't been properly consulted about the project, nor have they received fair compensation for their displacement. This has unfortunately cast a dark shadow over NEOM, raising serious questions about how the city will be built and who will truly benefit. Imagine your life turned upside down. Your home, the land your family has lived on for generations, is suddenly marked necessary for a futuristic project. You're told to leave, with reports suggesting minimal compensation or alternative housing options. This is the harsh reality faced by the Huaytat tribe. The concept of forced eviction goes against international human rights law. The UN has a set of principles called the UN Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights, which outline the responsibility of companies and governments to respect human rights throughout their operations. In NEOM's case, questions arise about whether these principles are being followed. The human rights concerns surrounding NEOM have sparked international outrage. Human rights organizations have called on companies involved in the project to condemn the alleged forced evictions and hold the Saudi government accountable. NEOM's developers maintain that they are committed to respecting human rights and that they are working with local communities. However, the reports of forced evictions and lack of consultation with the Huaytat tribe paint a different picture. The issue of human rights is complex and requires a sensitive approach. NEOM can't simply bulldoze its way forward, disregarding the lives and traditions of the people who have lived on this land for centuries. Finding a solution that respects the rights of the Huaytat tribe while allowing NEOM to move forward could be one big challenge. Without a transparent and respectful approach to the people currently living in the designated area, NEOM's vision of a utopia risks becoming a dystopian reality for many. Inefficient and expensive design. NEOM's challenges extend far beyond the debate over human rights. Let's take a step back from the ethical concerns and look into the project itself. While the idea of a self-contained futuristic city powered by clean energy and cutting-edge technology sounds impressive, some experts are raising eyebrows about the practicality and sheer cost of NEOM's grand design. Think of it like this. This is a city built from scratch, spreading across a vast desert landscape. Everything from housing and transportation to energy production and waste management needs to be carefully planned and constructed. This complexity translates into a massive price tag. Estimates suggest that bringing NEOM to life could cost hundreds of billions of dollars. That's a hefty sum, even for a country as wealthy as Saudi Arabia. Here's another concern: efficiency. NEOM boasts a focus on sustainability, but some critics argue that the very design of the city goes against that principle. A massive centralized city in the middle of a desert raises questions about resource consumption. To give you a clearer picture, the city will be in the middle of a desert. Now, imagine the energy required to pump water to this remote region, or the environmental impact of constant climate control to maintain those perfect weather zones. Wouldn't a network of smaller, more self-efficient cities scattered throughout the region be a more sustainable approach? There's also the question of practicality. Building a giant city from the ground up is no easy feat. It takes time, resources, and a whole lot of manpower. Finding the workforce to build and maintain NEOM in such a remote location could be a challenge, not to mention the logistical nightmare of transporting materials and equipment. NEOM's designers are banking on attracting the brightest minds and businesses to this futuristic hub. But would these innovators be willing to live and work in a city that's still under construction, far from established centers of commerce and culture? The appeal of a high-tech utopia might fade when faced with the realities of daily life in a remote desert location. Don't get us wrong, NEOM's ambition is undeniable. However, the project's design raises serious questions about efficiency, cost, and even its long-term sustainability. While technological challenges can be overcome with time and innovation, the challenges posed by NEOM's sheer scale and desert location might be a different story altogether. Environmental hazard. But hold on a sec. Building a paradise from scratch might come at a cost to the very environment it aims to protect. NEOM's centerpiece, the Line, stretches for a mind-boggling 100 miles and features mirrored walls. While this futuristic design might look cool, scientists warn it could be a disaster for wildlife. Imagine a giant wall reflecting the desert sky, confusing birds and leading to deadly collisions. Animals that have roamed these lands for generations could have their migration routes disrupted by this massive structure. Also, building a city from scratch takes a lot of stuff: steel, glass, concrete, and making these materials isn't exactly eco-friendly. The construction process itself could be a major disruption to the delicate desert ecosystem. Think dust storms kicking up as bulldozers clear the land, and the natural habitats of plants and animals being destroyed. Another major concern is water. Deserts are naturally dry, and NEOM's vision of lush green spaces and perfect weather zones would require a massive amount of water, which would require constantly pumping water from the already limited underground reserves. This could be a recipe for disaster for the surrounding environment. Plants and animals that depend on this precious resource could suffer the consequences. NEOM's developers say they're committed to being green. They plan to use recycled materials and renewable energy sources like solar and wind power. That's a good start, but some experts question if it's enough. Can a city built from the ground up in the middle of a desert truly be sustainable? A healthy desert ecosystem is a complex web of life. NEOM's construction has the potential to disrupt animal migration patterns, deplete precious water sources, and leave a lasting scar on the desert landscape. Whether NEOM can become a model of sustainable living or end up an ecological nightmare remains to be seen. One thing's for sure: NEOM's impact on the environment will be closely watched in the years to come. Social cohesion. Now, building a city is one thing, but building a society with a strong social fabric is a whole other ballgame. NEOM is essentially a giant social experiment. The plan is to attract people from all corners of the globe: tech wizards, entrepreneurs, and anyone else who wants to be part of this futuristic utopia. But here's the problem. How do you create a sense of community and shared identity in a place with no shared history or traditions? Think about it. People from different cultures and backgrounds will be thrown together in this brand new city. They'll speak different languages, have different customs, and likely hold different ideas about what makes a good life. Building bridges across these divides and fostering a sense of we're all in this together won't be easy. Language barriers could create communication difficulties, cultural clashes might arise, and there's a chance that people simply won't feel like they belong. Let's not forget the potential isolation factor. NEOM is planned for a remote desert location. While the promise of flying taxis and robot chefs might sound enticing, will people be content living far away from established cultural centers, family, and familiar surroundings? Imagine feeling homesick and missing the comfort of your local traditions. That could put a damper on even the most enthusiastic utopia dweller. Here's the thing. Creating a strong social fabric takes time. It involves shared experiences, traditions that develop over generations, and a sense of familiarity with your neighbors. NEOM will have to work hard to overcome this challenge. They'll need to find ways to encourage interaction between residents from diverse backgrounds, create opportunities for shared experiences, and maybe even develop some new traditions unique to this futuristic city. The best we can do is wait and observe.